Welcome into the Beat Sessions, the place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary, and it's excellent to be back in the studio. Hope you've all been well the last couple of weeks while I was absent. Let's get down to business. Talk about Alice Cooper and this new album, Road. He released that on August 25th. This is the 22nd solo studio album for Alice and his follow up to 2021's Detroit Stories. It's a solid concept record celebrating his hometown and a damn fine music city between rock and roll and Motown. I'd say that Detroit is probably the greatest music city in America, one could argue. I'll also, on a side note, say that Alice Cooper, at his core, I think, is an Arizona guy. I know I'm biased there, but I appreciate his act being based out of Phoenix. Phoenix, Arizona is not the mecca of rock and roll or any type of music, really, for that matter. But we do have our history there. There are a handful of really solid acts that have come out of the city. And I definitely would argue that Alice Cooper is one of them. Not everybody's cup of tea. I get that. But I admire his commitment to that act over all of these decades. There's so many artists that have varied up their image, varied up their sound, done any number of things. I admire the commitment to being the master of the macabre and just to creating a theatrical experience that's based on fun and just based on being hard and loud and coming at you 100 miles an hour. Alice Cooper is a guy that just rocks out. And this new album, Road, rocks out, has a ton of guitars. And one of the highlights reading about this record after listening to it, he has an amazing touring band. So his effort to record all of those individuals to showcase their talent, it helps, I'm sure sell some tickets for shows, but to just, give credit where credit is due, to give an opportunity to individuals to shine. Alice has always been that kind of guy. I think you read about him, he's the type of individual that has always tried to bring people together and to make the rock and roll experience and just the experience of life positive in general. He's a force that, I'm glad that he's still out there making music, doing his thing. Teaming up with Bob Ezrin and a number of other individuals on this record, it's a lot of people just having a good time. You can feel it on this album. And, who better to lead them along in this experience than Alice himself? The concept of the road, a number of stories that I'm sure come from his experience touring. I'm sure a little bit of this is autobiographical. He may not admit it, but just funny. Songs like Go Away and Big Boots, like got big boots, baby got boots. I mean, the hook is it's so ridiculous, but it's one of those things that very few people can get away with it, and he's one of those guys. It just, the level of camp that he's able to bring along with his storytelling, the delivery of it all is just, it's a fine line that he walks incredibly well. And I definitely would recommend streaming this thing. I'm curious about the production on the wax. I gotta admit, right off the bat, I'm gonna vinyl pass this thing because it's on two pieces of wax that are almost like $50. And as much as I enjoyed this record, I don't want to spend $50 on it right now. I just bought a house, so it's unfortunate. And what I will say is that the last song is a cover of Magic Bus, which is solid. But if this thing could have been 12 songs on one piece of wax and just that solid experience from the standpoint of the vinyl package, I think that this would be such a better overall record. It's unfortunate, but I definitely would check this thing out, stream it. It kicks off with I'm Alice. Big stomping drums, and I really like the simple riff, the way that those notes just fill out space. It's a cool song. It opens nicely. The pre-chorus finds a little groove, and then the chorus, you get this like shift in tempo and like these marching drums. It's really just a lot of fun. There's this shift into a breakdown that's it's spoken word, and I love the kind of like rolling drums that go along there, but the the lines for a slice of heaven in this living hell, come and be with the me that you know so well. It's so catchy, it's so good. Ushers in this great solo. I can't get enough of the opener. It's a really good example of that campiness that I'm talking about. And again, there's not too many artists that can get away with it. And there's not, when I throw on Alice, I have to find myself in the mood. But when I'm in that mood, he just always hits the spot. Welcome to the show is your second track. I love just the great hard rock and feel. Nice heavy riff going to work on this song. The drive and the drums is excellent too. Chorus has a light, catchy melody, like the shift, the contrast there, and another cool breakdown before the solo on this track. Structurally, it's kind of, he's not. He's not breaking out and doing anything, that's going to change music by any means. So there is kind of that banality, I guess, in the structure of the song. Not a whole lot of experimentation there, but in my opinion, it doesn't matter. It's not what you're sitting down for, if that makes sense. It's all about context and who's doing what, in my opinion. This is a great second track, all over the world. Your third song, cool little riff to open. I like the horn element. Get some trumpets in here that kind of brighten things up. Give it kind of this 80s rock and roll feel. Maybe think of like what Aerosmith was doing in the 80s, early 90s. Really just like the kind of funky country vibe that's going on in this thing. There's a lot going on in this song. It's probably one of my favorite tracks. Dead Doe Dance, great hard rocker. Love the heavy feel right out of the gate. The bass-driven verses definitely caught my attention as well. I dug that. But just a classic hard rock and sound, and it's lyrics super fun, kind of campy as well. Go Away, your fifth track, more of that classic hard rock and sound. Kind of like there's moments on this thing where I was kind of feeling hair metal a little bit. I mean, it's interesting when you consider the camp that's there and the difference in Alice Cooper, but I do like that about him, his ability to mesh, all these different genres of rock and roll so well. And Go Away, funny song about this crazy groupie that just is bugging Alice too much. I dig the shift into the chorus. Verse moves from a bass groove that I should say the verses move from between this bass groove and then this riff heavy element. So I like the way there's this contrast. It's like this two part that goes back and forth. Solo's pretty sweet on the song. Leads into White Line Frankenstein, excuse me. Got a little feature from Tom Morello on this track, so I love that. And obviously the guitars on this thing are exceptional. More of a metal feel. Doesn't surprise me with his presence on that song. But chorus on this one, talking about that 80s hair metal feel, I was feeling it on that track as well. But a fun song leads into Big Boots, which back to that funky rock and sound, big stomping drums. I love the piano that's going to work on this track. It's got kind of a barroom feel to it. And yeah, she got big boots. Baby got boots. You know what they say about big boots. Super funny song. Rules of the Road is your eighth track. Has just a big ZZ Top feel is what I pulled off this track. Funny little breakdown about the road. Again, great funny lyrics there to keep you entertained. Those are going to lead into another solo that I thought was pretty exceptional there. The Big Goodbye is your ninth song. Hard rock is back. And it's just right out of the gate on this one. A good track that, honestly, at this point, talking about the length of the track list, being on the two pieces of wax, this is a good song that does feel a little buried in the track list. And I don't know if that cover of Magic Bus is something that you dig. Maybe that's the song that goes to keep this on one piece of wax. I don't know. Road Rats Forever is your 10th track. Drums open to usher in some really fun guitar play on this thing. I love the thick driving bass that's at work on this track. This song has more personality than more of the other songs. It's all the musicianship definitely caught my attention on this thing. Probably my favorite track, all things considered. If you're gonna make me pick one, Baby Please Don't Go. I really like this moment of balladry here. This is a really fun track that nice acoustic guitar, breezy, sentimental soft rock ballad, and given all the moments of humor, I'm sure that Alice, he's been married for a number of years. I'm sure he's had some bumps in the road as far as his marriage and just the time away, and that's something that can't be easy. And so I like the sentimentality of that track. Leading into your penultimate song, 100 More Miles. You got the spooky minimal intro, vocal element there, and some keys, and then the chorus goes big and big hard rocking song, soaring vocal as this thing opens up, kind of acting as your final track, so to speak. And then, you think about the addition of Magic Bus and what this album is doing, and conceptually, I get it. It makes sense there. And so, yeah, maybe you ditch the big goodbye, but from a standpoint of, of putting the money towards the wax and enjoying that experience, A, this thing is expensive, and B, it's, the two pieces of wax break up the track list. And I think that this is a great record that, the time without that, just the one song, it would just been a solid all around experience, in my opinion. I'm going to pass on the wax, unfortunately. It bums me out to say it, but I definitely would recommend streaming this thing. Check it out. I love Alice. Hope you enjoyed this record. Hope you find this review helpful. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help us blow this project up in 2023. And stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.